Hello and welcome to FS Brew. FS Brew is the region's first podcast focusing on all things insurance and Insurtech in the UAE and the broader Middle East. I'm Ranjit Philip. I work with a boutique consulting firm where I work on M&A, funding, and go-to-market support for startups and tech companies.
Hi, I'm Vidya. I'm the founder of Forward, a startup that works with insurance companies to build their go-to-market digital propositions. In today's episode, we have with us Nirafar. He is the CEO and founder of Vita Virtues. It's a insurtech based out of the UAE, focused specifically on health insurance-based digital solutions. It was fantastic to speak with him, understand his journey. We really hope you enjoy listening in.
Hi, Miro. Welcome to FS Brew. It's brilliant to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. Been looking forward to this. It's, I guess, long overdue. It's been a while since we caught up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. We'll kick it off with the first one. Obviously, it's a very unique name, Vita Virtues. And what inspired you to start Vita Virtues, and what was the sort of problem statement that you were solving for?
So my background comes in insurance brokering and particularly in private medical insurance. I came from, a sales background essentially. And I noticed when I first started that job that there were a lot of sort of manual processes. And I worked for a company at that time, 16 years ago. I started my job. I noticed that they had at that time, it was very unique, like a lot of digital processes. And the way that they did things was very unique to the market. And not a lot of people did that. When I started doing brokering more on my own, I became independent. And I noticed when I left that, I didn't have those types of digital processes. So I had to start creating it myself. I started doing more and more digital process on my own. And eventually I discovered that there was one major pain point, which is our core model, which is streamlining the sales process. And a big part of that is creating quotations for customers. And that's how things I got inspired. I initially created a system that was very unique to the market where I could get all the information into one place. And from there, I was able to put into a system and create quotes quickly for customers. And I didn't think it was anything special at the time, but then at one point I went to a big broker event and it was with an insurance company and all the brokers were complaining about the same problem. Okay, we can't create quotes really quickly. We can't create quotes really quickly. And I had this system at this time. It was it wasn't super advanced at that time, but I could do it. And so I was like, I want to solve this problem. But yeah, it spun out from there. I spoke to a few tech leaders that were in parallel industries. And essentially I had a lot of people confirming my initial thoughts like, hey, this is a good idea. You should look to potentially sell this as a solution. I partnered up with some more people and then Vita Virtues was birthed. Vita Virtues, it is a unique name. It came out from Latin terms, like life and then virtues. So like life virtues. So yeah, we want to just save people time so that they can focus on what's most important to them.
Which we will get into on the background of that. And one of the things that's important to you is surfing. And obviously, I think what you left out was that you worked with the Pacific group and you worked in Asia, China specifically before
Correct.
coming to the UAE as well.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice. So for this region, it feels like you're solving a real, very basic, but real problem as well. But then if you look at the broader healthcare sector, which you're into currently as well, how would you describe the current state of the UAE health insurance market? What are the trends that you are observing? And how are you utilizing these insights into your business as well?
I mean, the UAE market, particularly the Middle East market, is evolving very quickly. It's funny too, because when I first decided that was debating starting a company or not, I was just wondering, is there a need? And there weren't a lot of companies in the market that were insurtechs in the first place. And then a lot of brokers and insurance companies weren't really tech driven. So I was like, is it the right time? And now it just seems like everyone is trending towards digital solutions. So, and it's moving very quickly, incredibly quickly, actually. It's quite amazing. Now it's hard to almost stay up in front of things because there's so many new solutions and trends that are being launched today. Really, when we interact with our partners and our customers on a regular basis, we get that information from them and really try to figure out what's next and what next solution that we can launch to help our customers and our partners that are out there, because now they're on top of things. Now they really understand what they don't have and what they want to have. Really, that's the feedback that we get. It's directly from our customers and directly from our partners. These are the ones that are really helping drive things forward for us.
Nice. Because health is so sensitive, right? There's so much of wellness trends. There's obviously lifestyle-based issues cropping up as much. So there's so much of innovation that can happen within that space itself.
100%. There's a lot going on there in that space.
Yeah.
And typically, your customers are brokers, Miro, right? And I know this market obviously has a lot of these local and international tech players. So how do you work to differentiate Vita Virtues? And I think Sales Lab is the name of the product, unless you have some other products which you want to reveal for the first time in FS Brew.
I mean, we have two products. It's Sales Lab, this is for brokers. And then we call it VIP or Vita Insurance Portal. It's an insurance product based on data insights. Normally, our core model is brokers. We serve brokers to help them streamline a lot of their sales process, which I explained earlier. But we're able to allow them to quote the products that they normally quote very quickly. And then the insurers, a lot of the times, unless an insurance company has their own portal with data insights, most insurance companies don't know much about their products and how it's being quoted and how rapidly we give insights to insurance companies for them to better understand their own products. Because a lot of times they just launch a product and they sit back and hope and wait and wish that things go well. But what we do is we give them a platform to allow them to understand, how their products are actually performing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, question. So is it across all channels? So insurers can view the performance of a direct consumers versus, let's say, through a partners and so on. So is it channel agnostic?
No, it's all based on our ecosystem. Anything that's done in our ecosystem that sort of empowers them there. But yeah, it is technically channel agnostic in some ways, but I won't go into the technicality. But yeah, it's for them to understand, particularly about their health insurance product, because a lot of insurers have multiple different products. They don't know which ones are most performing or the most popular ones. It allows them to have a better handle on that kind of information.
Got it. And as we just talked about the sort of competition, there's a number of tech players. So is there a plan to adapt, move forward from quotations to some other part of the value chain? Or how are you differentiating and adding on more functionality for your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So our mission and vision is to solve the value chain of sales delivery. So it starts from quoting, but also a little bit before that, we do help capture more customers as well. But then go to quoting, application, essentially the underwriting and aspect of things. We're not doing underwriting, but like we partner with other tech partners that have an underwriting solution. And then actually purchasing the policy. Our whole mission and vision is to solve that full value chain for our customers so that they can essentially improve the customer experience for the end consumer so that they can find the right broker, find the right plan, and then enroll right away. So that's the full vision for us.
Got it.
Okay.
Nice. Miro, one of the biggest challenges in the industry is convincing our insurers and brokers to really adopt a tech piece that actually will benefit their organization. What tech to influence your stakeholders? How do you get them to be your customers?
I think it's a case by case basis, but a lot of the times the biggest thing is we focus on the pain points of our customers. We don't really do too much. Obviously, we have to pitch at some level. We focus on the quality of our products, how long we've been in the market, our customer service as well. So those are big areas that we focus on. But what really gets things over the line is just focusing on our customers' pain points and then honing in on solving those problems for them. So yeah, I'd say that's mainly the reason why people choose us is that we try to alleviate what they come to us in the first place for.
Nice. Keeping it simple. Great.
So let's go a little bit into sort of how you run your business. So let's talk those KPIs and metrics. Are there any financial or operational measurements or metrics or numbers that you look at? Is it as simple as revenue growth and customer growth or anything else? Happy to know more about that.
Yeah, we try to look at all of it. Obviously, the biggest thing is just revenue coming in. We always want to be growing those numbers as much as possible and getting as many subscribers as well. But the number of users we onboard on a weekly or monthly basis. So we want to continue to get more and more users using the system, using different features in our platform as well. How often people are engaging with their system. So these are big key metrics for us. When it comes to, we'll say, like sales KPIs, we want to start growing our research. We do a lot of outbound research. We don't do traditional digital marketing methodology. We are a lot of, I come from a sales background. I'm used to cold calling people and doing research and finding the right customers. So and we're not a type of product that needs high volume too, or a typical B2B business. We
Yeah.
don't need to be blasting out digital marketing. So a lot of times we're looking at our typical CRM system. So we're taking a look at how many customers do we have in the queue? Who do we have in the nurturing processes? And then from there, trying to engage and get them into some sort of trial or testing phase so they can use our system.
Got it. Got it. So if I understand you correctly, this is very sales led. You have to have a pitch to the customers. And it's not really, the other approach is obviously product led, where you offer a free subscription where people can run with it from your website and they approach you for an upgrade if they need. So this is very sales led. So that's the whole story.
Yes. We want to get to a point to where certain users that maybe don't meet our typical customer profile can enroll through a lot seamless of a process or a website. But at the moment, our core focus is bigger enterprise companies that are not typical to just click and just subscribe to something. They need the explanation. We do have a bit of an onboarding process too at the moment. That's required to have a sort of a call at some level. But we're aiming to get to a point to where you can just simply just click a button and subscribe and get going.
At the basic tier of the subscription, if you will. Yeah.
Exactly. We aspire to be like companies like HubSpot or Salesforce, but these are gorillas. But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. And when you start something new, like Vita, which is when you started off, it always comes, when you start something new, it comes with its bag of challenges. What would you say are your biggest challenges that you faced while starting off and also growing your business? And also, would you say you had some advantages at the start of your business? Did that help you out? Great to hear that.
Yeah, it's like a big one to unpack. But I would say when it comes to starting off, the biggest struggle as an entrepreneur was just validating the concept. When you start off, you don't really know if it's going to be something that people are going to want to buy. And the concept, and it gets bigger and bigger, but the concept was still big as it started, which was I want to create a system to where people can quote really quickly and have everything centralized. A lot of people are like, we don't need that. So getting people to buy in on that vision was probably one of the biggest struggles, and it continues to be a difficult part in the process. But I have many, and those are they're regular challenges that we face on a constant basis. But I would say that's like probably the biggest reoccurring one is just like getting people to see the long-term vision and the benefits of it. The advantages, I stayed in the same industry, so having contacts in the industry was a huge help. A lot of people know who I am as a person and as a businessman. So that was probably a big advantage. So I had some clout before. So people backed me early on, which is highly appreciated. I had so many great customers and partners that supported us from the beginning. So that was probably the huge advantage that we had from the start, is just having that sort of connection to a lot of the people early on.
Right. And drawing on those challenges and advantages, what advice would you give to aspiring Insurtech entrepreneurs in the UAE? How should they approach building their brand and the company brand?
I would say start small. I think tech in general, you can a lot of the times focus too big on things. And especially if you're on like LinkedIn or social media, you end up getting sucked into these stories that you don't really know the facts about things. Some of them could be true. Some of them could be completely fabricated, and they move so fast and so large so quickly. And I think if you get sucked into that, a lot of the times you start doing too many things at once, and that a lot of the times can change your focus and take away from your product or take away from what your main revenue source is. Starting small is important, and staying small is important as well, because I think that's what really can help you build a good product and help you deliver good service to your customers as well. I would say that's one big area to focus on as an entrepreneur. Another thing too is probably get good at sales. I know I'm lucky to come from a sales background. There's advantages and disadvantages of being a non-technical founder. I don't have a background in tech. It's something I had to learn over time. But on the other hand, I had a big portion of a business, which is sales. I come from a strong sales background. I understand the processes, and I'm constantly evolving our sales process to improve that. And if you're going to have anything, any kind of product or service, you got to sell it. Getting comfortable with sales is probably one of the most important skills you can have as a Insurtech or tech leader or any kind of business owner. You need to just get good at selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's super important. Do you want to touch upon a little bit on your fund, how people should approach funding as founders? And I believe
Sure.
you are bootstrapped, or have you got funding yet?
We have a board and the co-founders. We've all self-funded the company, but we don't have any kind of private equity or what do you call it?
Yeah.
A VC money. Yeah. So yeah, we're not funded in the traditional sense. I was going back to the sort of starting small and not sort of getting sucked into these stories. Like when for the longest time, to be honest, my whole, we'll say professional career, I always thought if you're going to be a successful company, you need to be funded. And really not until it was later in my professional career did I realize that you don't need to be this huge unicorn to be a successful company. It really depends on the person, on what you're aspired to, how big the market is. Really, I'm not huge on funding unless you really need it, like really need it, because I'm more on organic growth and profitability. That's the biggest thing for us. I would say, again, going back to you guys' last question too, probably to add to entrepreneurs, don't be trigger happy to pull the trigger on getting funding, because you should be really focusing on, what you need funds for and justifying the funds to grow that area. Whereas I feel a lot of the times people have a good idea, but then they're like, we just need funding. And then as soon as that happens, a lot of times you hear the stories, what ends up happening to these companies that get funded is that these people that give you money now need you to make that money back. And then all of a sudden you start going into new areas, building products that haven't been solidified and validated. And that fund goes away very quickly. So you see a lot of in the last 4 or 5 years, companies just going bust really fast, right? Yeah, the up and down of WeFox, and there's some other companies that are out there that have just came and gone. And I think a lot of the times what ends up happening is just people are able to pitch a big idea. This is great. But then what ends up happening is just they probably didn't need all that money in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my sort of take right now on funding. We're always open to it, but it's something that we take on very carefully and seriously, right? If we are to ever consider it, we'll say traditional funding.
Yeah.
Perfect. There's so much of hype around funding in any case, so prudence is really required. Also, we need to do a little bit of crystal ball gazing. What are your thoughts on the whole future of the insurance industry in the UAE, especially at the backdrop of open insurance coming through and open finance coming through?
Like I said, the UAE is like a special market. It grows so quickly. We have our hands and feet in different regions, just figuring out the next market to launch our solution in. But it's become quite apparent that the UAE is a fast evolving market. I think that the UAE is going to have so many amazing solutions that launch in the next 3 to 5 years, either with us and other insurtechs that are out there. We engage with a lot of other insurtechs to try to collaborate on new solutions, and people are doing and thinking of a lot of amazing things. And I think the future is very bright for the UAE. I think there is still a lot of room to grow in, we'll say, the actual insurance space, particularly. There's room for disruption. It's a tough word to say, but insurers in general are very traditional and very manual when it comes to their work. And it's hard to break out of this framework, mainly because of how organizations are actually structured. They're not very agile. So getting things done is difficult to do. So in the UAE particularly, I do think there is an opportunity for disruption. But that being said, the UAE is not exactly something that you can just plug and play. It takes a long time to be able to enter a market and build brand. So that's one advantage that the traditional market has, is that they've been solidified in the market for a long period of time. They have the market understanding, and they have that sort of awareness of where they are as a business in this particular region. But yeah, if they sit back for too long, they could run into problems where someone enters the market. Maybe they don't disrupt things immediately, but slowly but surely they could disrupt things. We constantly are telling our insurance partners and brokers at the same token, just make sure you're moving, because a lot of times they have this idea like, there's nothing really, carefully say disruption, mainly because there's nothing wrong with insurance. It's a financial service. There's nothing really broken with it. But I do think the things that are broken about insurance companies is primarily the processes that are internal to all of them, because it's very costly to manage insurance. It's a very people driven type of industry. And if they don't look at their bottom line better, very quickly becomes an unstable part of their business. So yeah, I just think for me, these traditional companies need to move a little bit faster to adopt technology so that they can stay on top of the game.
Yeah. And looking a little more forward in the next 12 to 24 months, what are the goals for your company? What do you want to achieve? What would look like success for you?
So right now, our primary focus is launching our solution into sort of new markets. We have a big draw in the United Kingdom right now. So we have more and more customers coming on board in the UK, but our product is region agnostic. So it can be launched in multiple regions. We have customers in Africa, in Asia, in New Zealand, and now we're even looking at some opportunities in the Americas as well. Yeah. So really it's a sort of a different product line of health insurance. They call it international private medical insurance. So that's the primary focus that we have right now. Another area that we're currently in the sort of R&D stage is group medical insurance, is launching a similar impactful solution in that space. We are taking our time because it is a very dynamic market to get into. But yeah, I would say those are the two areas that we're probably going to be focusing on in the next 3 years, is our international markets with our current product, and then launching another impactful product for the UAE market.
Got it. No, I did not know that you're looking at international markets as well. So that's great. And before we end it, I think we have to ask you a question about Gen AI and how are you using Gen AI in your business?
We use Gen AI, as many AI tools as we can on a regular basis. Like I would imagine, if you're not using AI today, I think that you have a lot to worry about. Obviously, we use ChatGPT every day for it. I think as an entrepreneur too, like today is the most amazing time to launch a company. You have your legal and compliance available. You have technology experts at your fingertips, a CTO or an ideation. You have product managers. You have everything literally in so many different platforms, from Grok to GPT, Gemini, whatever it may be. Like you have that available to you. So whereas if we didn't have this, you'd be spending so much money just to get these experts at your fingertips. Having it as a normal sort of something to voice off of, or even just like initial proving certain concepts or reviewing certain work, is a massive help for us, not only in time, but also costs. We use this internally for a lot of our processes. We regularly are looking to improve our own internal processes. So anything that's manual, we will look to use several different platforms to streamline processes so that we don't have to worry about more people when we grow. Obviously, we're going to be hiring more people, but if you have AI doing certain workload or reducing workload by 30, 50, 70%, that's a lot of people that you don't necessarily need to have. And again, makes you a lot more profitable of a company. But we do have some big plans for AI with our own solutions as well.
Excellent. Very good. With that, we come to the rapid fire section. Obviously, the intent is to get answers in less than 60 seconds. And I think Vidya, you're going to kick us off, aren't you?
Okay, fab. Are you ready, Miro?
Sure, let's go for it.
Awesome. So what are your hobbies and interests outside of work? We know you're a surfing enthusiast.
Oh, well, avid surfer. grew up most of my life surfing. So I do whatever I can to go surfing, get out to a beach. Vacations are based on going to a beach. So yeah, surfing is a big hobby of mine and passion. As we can see, you'll see a lot of my posts are just, yeah. And I feel like the surfing spirit, everyone wants to have that sort of relaxed phase that a lot of surfers have. I think a lot of people can relate, but I'm also a big yogi. I do yoga at least 2 times a week. I am hoping to get back into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I used to train quite a bit, but now that my son is starting to get into Jiu-Jitsu, I'm hoping to get back into it so I can train with him. But
Nice.
yeah, I would say those are my main hobbies at the moment.
Nice.
Right.
What's your favorite book or documentary and why?
Oh, okay. So my favorite book, I have quite a few. I'm a avid
reader.
reader.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think on a personal level, the book by David Allen, Getting Things Done, is one of the best books I've read for myself. I have a very cluttered brain. I am born with ADHD, so a lot goes on in my head. And before having this book, I wasn't able to really organize things. And especially if you're wanting to do several different projects as a person, launch a company, have a good social life, be able to be a good husband, a good father, all this stuff requires work and thought. And if you don't organize things well, if you don't plan them well, if you don't have a good space for them, it can lead to a lot of really stressful things. And so reading this book particularly helped me free up my mind to be a good, better person, better businessman, better husband, better father. So I'd say that's my one major favorite book. When it comes to documentaries, oh man, I wouldn't be able to tell you any particular. I watch them on a probably regular basis, but I probably couldn't tell you anything that I would know off the top of my head.
Oh, no way. So who's your role model then? Why?
My role model, or models are my father. Yeah, my father he was an entrepreneur. He's retired now, but he ran a technology business as well, hardware. He really taught me a lot on how to run a small business. And I've talked about him in the past in other events and essences, but he like the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, another favorite book of mine. He taught me a lot about what is good and what is bad as far as being an entrepreneur. But yeah, as far as like work ethic and creativity, as far as a businessman, like he's my main influencer of a business owner and a businessman. So he's probably one of my biggest role models.
Fantastic. What's your favorite thing about living in Dubai?
Oh man, so many things. Dubai is awesome. It's my favorite things are its convenience. It's a very convenient place. It has, no matter where you live in the city, there's always a hospital down the street, a clinic down the street, a school down the street, a market down the street. You can, even if you didn't want to walk a few blocks to any of those places, you can order them online or speak to something on some sort of application. It used to be one of the cities I thought was the most unadvanced cities I've ever been to, because when I came from America, I always thought America was the most like advanced places in the world and everything worked. And then when I came to Dubai 16 years ago, it just, things weren't like that. But now today, oh my gosh, everything's just seamless. You want to register your car, you can do it on your application. If you want your license done or you need to pay a bill, everything's just at the touch of your fingertips. And I love it. It's just so nice to have. And it makes everything else, like when you leave now, when I go back to America, oh my God, nothing works here. So it's, that's what I love. It's just maybe probably the convenience of things.
Nice. Ranjit, over to you.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about surfing and some of the cities you like traveling to, and what are the good spots for surfing?
Oh man, let's see here. There's a lot. I recently went to Maldives. If you just want an amazing, relaxed Maldives surfing trip, that is just, you're guaranteed to get one of the best experiences when it comes to surfing. I have a good friend of mine. He organizes a yacht. You can only do that in Dubai, I think, or in Maldives in this case. But the guys in Dubai, or at least at one point we're in Dubai, and then they meet up every single year to get on this boat for 10 days. And we just live on it. You live on a yacht for that time, and you're just surfing the whole time. And it's just the most beautiful and tranquil like scene. Not a lot of internet, so you can't, as much as I want to work, you're limited by really crummy internet. So you can only do the essentials, a few messages here and there. So I'd say that's like a good little break that you can go to as far as if you're an avid surfer. But if you're a beginner surfer, most amazing place, one of my favorite places to visit, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, great place,
Oh,
good
yeah.
place for
Yeah.
beginners. I'd highly recommend that to anyone that's looking to get into surfing. It's a great place to start.
Are there good spots in Dubai?
Yeah, actually, I'm a member at, there's a private beach at Nikki Beach in along the coast. You can only in Dubai, you can get access to a private beach where there's only a limited amount of surfers. It's actually one of my favorite beaches, actually, because of that reason. You can pay a membership, and then all of a sudden, when I grew up, you would have hundreds of surfers in the water, and you could be in the best mood ever that day, but then you just, run into the wrong person in the water, and all of a sudden your day is ruined. Whereas like here, you don't have to worry about other people and the people that you see are used to and like to see. So that's one nice thing that you get in Dubai is just like this sort of manicured lineup that you would never have anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let me throw a couple of rapid fires from my side. All right. So, what's
Go
your
for it.
advice for people who are going to start their own business, whether it's in short talk or anything?
I mentioned it once before. I think sales is a really
Yeah.
underutilized skill set. So if you don't have it, just being really focused on sales is a big part of being a business person and entrepreneur. I can't stress it enough, mainly because I see a lot of people that are starting businesses, a lot of them young, and they have a really amazing concepts. Don't get me wrong, incredible concepts. But what ends up happening is that they will get that great idea and they just can't word it correctly. Another one is just maybe working on public speaking. You may not be good at selling, but being able to talk and tell a story is like that. I think that's super important because if you can't convey that image, then people just won't see it. And again, I see a lot of these younger entrepreneurs or people that are starting up that are not very sales driven. They end up getting into this really tough grind of a business, and they don't understand what's needed to just start getting revenue. And the other thing too is just probably as an entrepreneur is learning how to delegate. I'm sorry, I don't know if we're supposed to cut off after 60 seconds or not, but
Let's go for it.
learning to delegate and creating processes is another huge aspect. I do see a lot of like friends, and I do see a lot of people that are maybe not their friends, but they're launching their own business. And they were really good at what they did before. Going back to another book that I love, E-Myth Mystery, you guys, Michael E. Gerbert, talking about technicians. So you get a lot of people that were like maybe a really good marketer or really good architect, like best of their class, right? And then they go, hey, I'm really good at this. I'm gonna go start my own business. What ends up happening a lot of times for entrepreneurs is that end up creating a job for themselves. And yeah, instead of you having a boss, your customers start becoming your boss. And that's not why you become an entrepreneur. You do it so you can have that flexibility one day. It's never like that from the beginning. And that's probably another problem I need to address is like a lot of people get ahead of themselves. I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur now. I can do whatever I want. No, it's like you have to grind now. But once you start doing that, a lot of times people start generating business and start getting clients, but they end up not delegating important tasks to other people. And you have to have that sort of trust to know that someone's not going to do a better job than you, or maybe they do a better job than you do, but you have to let that go and let that anxiety go of them failing and allowing them to fail. And then learning from that. That's one thing I see a lot when it comes to other entrepreneurs. And it's something that again, we're not HubSpot or Salesforce yet, but it's something that we're regularly learning and trying to get better at, but we're doing it to some degree. And I see a lot of times, like people just get stuck with just one or two people when they could just be growing the business significantly if they learn to delegate a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about building those scalable business processes. And the last one, what's your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
I would say just having limitless opportunities. I think a lot of the times, and there's nothing wrong with not being an entrepreneur. I feel like a lot of times, like being an entrepreneur is it's a catchy thing. It's something you want to put a logo next to your name and like LinkedIn. I'm a subscriber, a check mark in Instagram or something like that. Entrepreneurship's not for everybody. It's really not. There's certain people that are built for it and certain people that are not. And that's okay. For me, I am not a typical person that I'm not really good with structure. As far as someone telling me to do one thing, I have a lot of ideas And when I'm forced not to be able to execute on those ideas, it's uninspiring to me. So I think the nicest thing for me is I get to really ideate ideas and then go ahead and test and execute these ideas. And I think that's one of the main thing I love about what I do is just the creativity part of it. I love that I can just regularly exercise that part of my brain that I probably wouldn't be able to do in a regular day-to-day job under another organization. So I think that's one of my favorite things about being an entrepreneur.
Perfect. Very good. And that's a great way to bring the podcast to an end. It was fabulous to have you with us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.
And hope to see you guys again soon.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.